back to this, let's go back into this collecting thing and your horror roots. So what got you in beside the, what did we call it earlier, spiritual?
Yeah, I would call it a spiritualist type thing that I'm involved in reading. I like reading horror stuff, okay, which is a generic term, I know, okay, but let me, I like the Antichrist theme. I like the Omen books a real lot because that's something I believe in.
So are you anti-religious then? Or do you ever...
I'm probably more religious because I believe in the Antichrist.
Well, then what about, are you anti-God, Christ?
No.
No, then you believe in God and
Christ,
that,
yeah.
where that goes.
But I also believe in Satan. To believe in God is to believe in Satan.
Right.
Because God created Satan.
That's right.
Also, I'd like to shed a little light on the Satan thing, as the Catholic Church seems to use Satan as the cause for every evil that's on this earth, okay? And that's not true. Satan was the most beloved of God. The most beloved angel of God. Satan was cast down from heaven for trying to usurp the power of God. Really, he just basically wanted to be as powerful as God he wanted to kind of take over a spot in heaven.
Like Thor and Loki.
Thor and Loki are brothers, though.
Right.
Okay. But this isn't brother. This is...
No.
God trusted Satan. Satan was his most beloved. He was the proudest of Satan that he could be. Okay? This is something he created. He was the shining light of heaven. And here he is, the shining light of heaven, turning on God, which again goes back to the friend who can turn on you at any second. That you give him all your trust. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It could be the one you least expect it, like with Jesus and Judas, where it happens again. Okay? So here you go. So basically Satan is banished to earth with his band of fallen angels. Okay? One of the other things that is supposed to have happened is that the reason there are freaks and mutates and, say, cyclopses and things like that on this earth, like, say, centaurs and things like that, was because the angels were coming down to earth. They were supposed to be the guardians of humanity, of the humans, and they were mating with them. And that caused, all these freaks and things like that. And also, according to the way Michelangelo painted people, they were supposed to be 10 and 11 foot tall.
Right.
Supposedly, man has been shrinking generation to generation. But anyway, to get back to the angel thing, okay, Satan was cast down with his angels to earth. And God gave Satan earth as his dominion. So in other words, if you believe in the Bible, as all good Catholics do, you must also understand and accept the fact that this is Satan's planet. God has given this to Satan as his dominion to do which he will. And basically, Satan is here to put you through the ringer. You know what I mean? Until, say, basically you go to heaven or whatever happens. I don't even know. I don't even want to get into that right now. But basically, this is Satan's planet and you're here, okay? You really don't have any control over it. Basically, what you should do is make yourself as comfortable as possible here without doing anything fucked up to other people, and if it happens to you, that's part of life, okay? You should not be too happy it happens to you, but also you should kind of accept it, that whole thing that without pain you wouldn't know happiness, you know what I mean? Without sadness you wouldn't know happiness, that kind of thing. So you have to have all that stuff. You have to have evil to know good.
Right, because there was all good.
You wouldn't know it was good. Okay? So you have to have all that stuff. It's negative and positive. It goes back to algebra too.
Right. So do you think in like the philosophy of like they've used Satan as a weapon of fear against the minds of the people?
Yes, sure. Well, that's the Catholic Church works as they operate on fear. Excommunication, sins on your mortal soul. There's none of that in the Protestant religion. Not that the Protestants were any great deal, But they did actually, Martin Luther rebelled against the Catholic Church. I have books that tell you of all the atrocities that the Catholic Church has performed on, the world. You talk about the Germans, the Nazis killing all those Jews. I have accounts of the Catholic Church annihilating races of peaceful people, like non-violent people. Their only existence was to become one with God, kind of a meditation level type thing, to truly know God and to be at one with Him. That was heresy to the Catholic Church, and they rounded them up from all the whole European continent into one area, killing them on their route. They would make these mass exoduses to their, sanctuary, basically. And then when they all got into one area, they set the whole thing in a big square on fire and burned them all. A couple million people. This is the Catholic Church, mind you.
Right.
Okay? Which is supposed to be holier than thou. Annihilated, exterminated millions of people. That doesn't account also for all the people they exterminated and tortured. Tortured people as if they had no feelings and no nerve endings or anything in their Spanish Inquisitions and in the German witchcraft, trials and all that stuff. Get burned at the stake and tell me about pain, okay? At least in Nazi Germany, they were gassed first before they were burned.
But it's all a level of fear, though.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, I think I'd rather be gassed first and then burned than just burned at the stake,
right.
Okay?
But it's just like, who dropped the bomb on Hiroshima? But we don't talk too much about that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I just think that religion over the years has been more a divider of people and more of a cause for war than a cause for peace, because it becomes organized religion. Religion in itself is a very good thing. It gives you faith, and you know what I mean? And if it's got some common sense to it, and if, the people who are teaching it teach you the right stuff, it's a very good thing. But if it's taught the wrong way, I think it creates war. The whole thing going on in Israel and the Middle East right now is the biggest holy war going, because Iran doesn't like Iraq, and Iraq doesn't like this, and they all don't like Israel, and Israel doesn't like, and Egypt doesn't, and they have all these stupid little factions of religious beliefs, and they're all fighting each other, and it's because of religion.
So do you think that's why nowadays there seems to be an incline in decreasing faith?
Sure. It's a bunch of bullshit.
And people are starting to say no.
People are starting to say, I believe this, and that's what I believe, and you can drop dead.
They're being very individualistic about it.
Yeah. Sure.
So were you raised Catholic?
No.
No? Is there Catholic in your family?
My mother's Catholic. My father's Protestant. But then again, I never had religion forced on me. Okay? I mean, I did have
but
to
you
go to
studied
church.
on it.
Yeah. I had to go to church when I was a kid. Not religiously, though, but I had to go, every once in a while. And I just, from what I've learned, I read the Bible every now and then for research for Archangel and things like that. I have to know what I'm talking about, at least for me. I won't write something unless I know what I'm talking about. If I don't know what I'm talking about, I won't even speak usually. I'll let someone who knows what they're talking about speak so I can learn.
So with the whole thing, this is a question that I'm asked a lot, but I'll ask you, is that on your records, Misfits the symbol was a skull. Samhain, the symbol is a skull. What's the fascination with skulls? As to Glenn Danzig.
I just think they look cool. Okay.
But is it? People say to me, "Well, it's a death symbol. Do you believe in death?"
I believe in death. Death is part of life. Without death, there is no life.
Right.
Again, without pain.
Are you afraid of death?
No, I'm actually kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, it's not one of those things where you'll take it now. You'll wait till the time comes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I mean, I don't see anything wrong with suicide, though. I don't think suicide should be illegal. I think if someone wants to kill themselves, if someone really hates life that much that they want to end it all, I think they should be
But what
allowed
about the
to.
people that are irrational at the time and they really don't know because they just broke up with a girlfriend?
That's their problem. That's another thing I don't believe in. I don't think everyone should be a protector of someone else. Everyone has a responsibility to themselves, and that's about it. You can be nice to other people and stuff, but you can't control someone else's life. That's a form of fascism.
That's being God.
That's right. You're
Is
not
God
God.
fascism?
I don't know. I don't know what rules we have about God.
But that's the religion.
God is not a man. Okay? Not a man nor a woman.
Right.
He's
But
a power and entity unto himself and also has laws unto himself. You're talking about man over man, and that's imposing your will upon someone else. Yes or no?
That's correct.
Okay. That's the whole deal. You cannot tell somebody, don't do that without being their little dictator to
But
them.
isn't that what religion is doing?
Yeah, well, I said that it was not religion. The people in control of organized religion are doing that.
Okay.
If you read into the Bible and stuff like that, nowhere in there does it say you have to pay me such and such amount of money so that we can continue to do this. And wait a minute, let's have a pope and let's have this and that.
So
nowhere in the Bible.
Is organized religion a
Yes,
form of
it's evil.
fascism?
Organized religion is probably more dedicated to Satanism than Satanists are.
Well, that's tough.
Yeah, because they're perpetuating the myth as Satan as this and that. They're dividing more people than they're bringing together. If that's not evil, I don't know what is. Okay? So basically right now, if you believe in Satan, he doesn't really have to do a goddamn thing.
Right.
He just
So
has
is that
to sit
you
back
think-
and laugh and maybe exert his energies elsewhere and let the Catholic Church just do all their evil bullshit on their own. And
So do you think that
the same
makes
thing
up
with
for
the
a lot of
Jews,
the
too.
unhappiness in the world?
I think it makes up for almost all of it.
Okay.
Well, what do you think?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, it's there. I mean, I don't have to do anything about it. I don't have to lie about any of this stuff. This is all there.
Right. Oh, I know that fully.
The whole thing is that all these people are starving, and in the... What is that called? Where all the Catholics live in Rome. You know that big place. You know they're like sanctuary, the big
Right.
place in Rome.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Where the Pope lives and everything. What's the name of that place?
I don't know.
Anyway, they got all these fucking paintings in there. They're worth millions and millions and millions. The place is ass.
It's like a sanctuary.
Yeah. The papal home or whatever the fuck it's called. I forget the name of it now. But anyway, if they really cared about old starving people all over and all that stuff, they could sell that shit and buy food for people and stuff and all that kind of stuff. And they don't.
Well, I think a lot of people can, but I think it's
The Vatican.
the Vatican. I just
Okay.
think, not just like organized religion in general, but I think people in general, I think they're getting to be raised more and more selfish within themselves.
But the Catholic Church is supposed to be above that. And that's what I don't like. They're too hypocritical. They're too, you know what I mean? They say one thing and do another, and that's not
So
cool
people are
because-
bred that way, so your next generation could be...
I don't know. No, what I see is that a lot of people buy their whole bullshit, their whole load of manure.
What do you mean by it?
They believe everything they say, and they live the way the Catholic Church tells them to live and stuff. Like no birth control.
Now, what about the people who are not Catholic, though?
Well, they're stuck, aren't they? Right?
What about Mormons?
I think Mormons are a little burned out also. I think
Well,
they have
Mormons,
more of a-
Mormon's the number one richest non-profit organization in the world.
I don't know about that.
That's true. And
Number one,
have you checked into the Mormon
richest non-profit organization? In other words, they're hoarding money. Oh, okay. Yeah, I believe that. I thought you meant that they were like,
no, richest
holier-
non-profit organization.
they were
in the world.
holier than thou. Because, you see, I don't like the Mormon church that much, you know.
Do you know about the Mormons
I know.
and what they tell
enough.
the people?
Yeah, I know that
Pretty
they're
ridiculous.
pretty burned out.
Right.
I know enough that I don't want to know anymore. Let's
That's
put it that
correct.
way. Okay. Yeah, I think, like I said, organized religion, once it gets organized to the point where they say, okay, well, we have to have this, then it's no longer serving the purpose it's supposed to serve. And that's supposed to be it's the comforter of a people. It gives them faith. It gives them a reason to go on when everything sucks and stuff like that. And I don't think we have that. I think they're just bilking people out of all their money. And I don't think that that's very conducive to the end result that they're supposed to be getting.